All right, so we're going to go ahead and continue on, and what we're going to do is we're going to take all of our estimations that we have, and now we're going to actually solve them to see if our estimation is a reasonable, to check the reasonableness of this product. So I do have a line sheet of paper, and I'm going to go ahead and solve these. So on letter A, and I'll kind of have this off to the side, or I'll bring it back. So letter A is 213 times 328. So I'm going to go ahead and write that on my paper, 213 times 328. And it is very important that when you are doing this, we need to make sure everything lines up. So I'm going to do 3 times 8 is going to be 24. Regroup my 2. 8 times 1 is 1 plus 2 more is 10. Cross that off, regroup my 1. 8 times 2 is 16 plus 1 more is 17, and I'm going to cross that off. And the reason is because I won't get this mixed up when I continue to regroup. So now I'm going to come over to the 2, and here's the thing is because this is actually like a 20, I'm multiplying this number by 20, I'm going to put that 0 so I don't have to continue to say 3 times 20, 1 times 20, 2 times 20, or 200 times 20. So now I can just go through and do this kind of nicely. 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, okay? Same thing here, now this is 300, so if you are thinking I've got to add those 2 zeros to show me that I multiplied it by 100, you're correct. 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 1 is 3, and then 3 times 2 is 6, and I'm going to add this up. So now I'm going to do 4, 6, 18, regroup that 1, 9, 6, and then I'm going to group those 3. So this answer, the actual answer is 69,864. And if I take a look at that 60,000, I would say that is pretty reasonable because that is really close to that 69,000. It is closer to 70,000, but I still think like even if it's really close into that 10,000, I think that you are still pretty reasonable with that. So now we're going to do number 2, and it's 662 times 372. So I'm just going to draw a line on here just to kind of show that I'm moving on to another problem. I've got 662 times 372, and I probably should have given myself a little bit more space here because I'm going to have numbers that are going to continue to go. So now I'm going to do what I normally do for multiplication. 2 times 2 is 4. 6 times 2 is 12, and I'm going to regroup that 1. 6 times 2 is 12 plus 1 is 13. I'm going to cross off that 1 because I've already used it. I'm going to put that 0 here because this is 70. So now I can do 7 times 2 is 14. I'm going to regroup my 1. 6 times 7 is 42 plus 1 is 43. I'm going to cross that off and put my 4. 7 times 6 is 43 plus 4 more is going to be 47. And guys, when you're doing this, this is where you need to make sure that we're continuing to line up those numbers. I'm going to cross off my 4 because I've used it. And if you've guessed, I'm going to put 2 zeros here because I've multiplied this by 300. So 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 6 is 18. I'm going to regroup my 1. Then I've got 3 times 6 again is 18 plus 1 more is 19. Sorry, it's going to come over onto that side. Now I can go ahead and add this all up. Regroup my 1. 17, regroup my 1. 14, regroup my 1, 2. So this answer I've got 247,264. And when I come over here to my estimation, I had 280,000. So if I kind of look at this, it was 80,000, 47,000. Yeah, it's kind of close, but you know what? It's still really close. It's still in that 200,000. And so I would honestly say that is pretty reasonable. So I'm going to go ahead and draw another box, and this time I'm going to make sure to write my problem a little bit further. And so now we're going to go ahead and do the 739 times 442. So 739 times 442. Okay, so I've got 9 times 2 is 18, regroup my 1. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7. 7 times 2 is 14. Okay, cross off that 1 because I've already used it. Now I'm going to do this 4, which is actually 40, so that's the reason why I put that 0 there. 9 times 4 is going to give me 30, no, I was going to say, hold on, I am drawing a complete blank on 9 times 4. It's 36. I don't know why I was drawing a blank on that. So it's 36. So 3 times 4 is going to give me 12, plus 3 more is going to be 15. I'm going to regroup my 1, cross off that 3. 7 times 4 is 28, plus 1 more is going to give me 29. Okay, cross off that 1, I've already used it. I'm going to add my 2 zeros. And so now I'm going to do 4 times 9 again, which is going to be 36. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put my 6 here and my 3 up here again. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 3 more is 15. I'm going to regroup that 1. 7 times 4 is 28, plus 1 more is 29. So I'm going to add these up. Regroup that 1, 10, 15, 16, regroup that 1. Regroup this 1 again. 12, regroup this 1, which is going to be 3. So this answer, it was 326,638. And when I came over here, my estimation was that 280,000. Now, if you really kind of think about it, you know what? It is kind of close. It's out of that 100,000. I would say it's still kind of reasonable, but it is still pretty close, especially what we did with rounding down on both of these. I think part of the reason why the number had such a big gap was because we rounded both of those down. I wonder maybe if we would have rounded one of them up and maybe one of them down, we would have been closer to that 350,000, which might have been a little bit closer to that number. So I still think it is definitely reasonable since it is pretty close to that. Okay. I'm going to draw this line. I know I'm not going to draw any more over here, but just to kind of end that up, and we're going to go ahead and come over to letter D, which is 807 times 491. So 807 times 491. Okay, so 7 times 1 is 7. 0 times 1 is 0. 1 times 8 is 8. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and put a place value holder here. And I'm going to do 9 times 7, which is going to be 63. Okay, 9 times 0 is 0, but I've got to add that 6, so it's going to be 6. Cross that off. 9 times 8 is 72, so I'm going to write that there. Okay, so now I'm going to come down to 400, and remember I'm going to put those 2 zeros because I multiplied it by 100. 4 times 7 is 28, regroup my 2. 4 times 0 is 0, but 2 more is 2. Cross that off. And then 8 times 4 is going to give me 36. I'm going to add these all together. 7, 3, 16. So I've got 16 plus 6 is going to give me 22. 2, 4, 6. That's kind of easy to do. 7 and 6 is going to give me 13. Regroup that 1. Now I've got 4. So this answer was 436,273, and this answer was 400,000. So I still think that is pretty close and reasonable in that. So we're going to go ahead and draw this box, and we're going to move on to letter E now, and it says 3,502 times 656. So our number is going to be close to 3 million, and I'm actually going to write this a little bit further apart because I do think this is going to be a pretty big number. Okay, so now I've got 6 times 2 is 12, regroup my 1. 6 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. 6 times 5 is 30, regroup my 3, and I've got to cross that off, I've used it. 6 times 3 is 18, plus 3 more is 21. Okay, I'm going to add my 0 because I have to put that place value holder in because I'm multiplying this by 50, not just 5. 5 times 2 is 10, regroup that 1. 5 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. 5 times 5 is 25, regroup that 2. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 2 more is 17. Cross that off because I've used it. Now I'm multiplying this by 600, so I've got 2 zeros I've got to add. 6 times 2 is 12, regroup that 1. 6 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. 6 times 5 is 30, so I'm going to regroup that 3. 6 times 3 is 18, plus 3 more sorry, I was going back and thinking, I think we've done this before. We did do it up here. 6 times 3 is 18, plus 3 more is 21. So I'm going to add these all up. 2, 1, this is pretty simple math right here. 7, 9, 2, didn't have to regroup anything there. This answer is 2,297,362. We estimated it at 2,800,000. So 2,800,000, 2,000,000, almost 300. You know, that is pretty close. I still would say it is a little bit reasonable, but it is pretty a little bit far off. So I'm going to go ahead and now we're going to do letter F, which is 4,390 times 741. So I'm going to do 4,390 times 741. All right. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 9 is 9. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 4 is 4. So nice and easy on that one. So now I'm going to do 40, but I'm going to put that 0. Okay, so now I can go through and just not have to worry about saying that I'm multiplying it by 40. So I can now do 4. This is going to be 0. 9 times 4 is going to be 36. Regroup my 3. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 3 more is 15. Cross off that 3, regroup the 1. 4 times 4 is 16, plus 1 is 17. Okay. So because now I'm in my hundreds, I've got to put those 2 zeros to show me that I've multiplied it by 100. 9 times 7 is 63. Regroup that 6. 7 times 3 is 21, plus 6 is 27. I was almost going to put 28, guys. Okay. I'm regrouping that 2. Now I've got 7 times 4 is 28, plus 2 more is 30. So I'm going to add this up. And 6, 9, 12, regroup that 1, 5, 9, 10, 17, regroup the 1, 8, and 4. So this answer, and I think I might have done something incorrect. Hold on, guys. So I think we need to go back and check this because this answer definitely is nowhere close to that 2 million. So hold on, let me check to make sure I know I've done my math right here. 0, 0, or sorry, 0. Oh, I think that's where my answer might be wrong. So I've got 0 here. 9 times 4 is not, or no, sorry, 0, 0. 9 times 4 is 36. I regroup the 3. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 3 more is 15, and I regroup the 1. 4 times 4 is 16, plus 1 is 17. So I have my zeros. That's what I did wrong, guys. I found that mistake. Okay. So the reason is I have my 2 zeros. And what is 7 times 0? Well, it is 0. So I made a goof, and what some of you guys might make goofs on is if you have a 0 here, you might forget to add that. So that is my goof. So now I'm glad that I checked that, because if I looked back at my answer, I had 487,000. My estimation was 2 million. So I knew, to me, when I checked this, something was definitely off. So now I can go through and multiply and do this now correctly. Is 9 times 7 is going to give me 9 times 7 is going to give me 63. Regroup that 6. 7 times 4 is going to give me 21, and then I'm going to add 6 more, which is going to give me 27. So now I've got that 2 there. 7 times 3 is, wait, hold on. I already did that one. 7 times 4 is going to be 28, plus 2 more is going to be 30. So now I can add this up, which I've got 0, 9, 9, ignore those. 9, 10, 12, regroup that 1. 7 and 7 is 14, plus 1 is 15, regroup that 1, 1, 3. This answer is 3,152,990. Oh, sorry guys, you couldn't see that. That is pretty close to that 2.8 or 2,800,000. So that is really close. That would probably be a really reasonable guess. But guys, if you would have gone back to when I first had that first answer and the answer was not in millions, it was in hundred thousands, that was where for me I was like, whoa, I've got to stop and I need to go back and check my work. okay? So now we're gonna do letter G, and I'm just gonna do one more on this side and then I'll flip my paper over. We're gonna do this 530 times 275. Now I know in previous lessons we would say, you know, that 530 is what's going to go on top. But for me, it doesn't matter where I'm multiplying this out. I'm actually going to put that 2075 on top first, just so that it lines up nicely. So I'm going to do 2075, and I'm going to multiply it by 530. Okay, guys, this goes along with the commutative property, especially in addition, multiplication. I could have this number first, I could have this number second, I can have this number first, I can have this number second. Your answer should always be the same. It does not matter. Going through this, here's the deal. I know that this is going to be 0, this is going to be 0, this is going to be 0, this is going to be 0. So I could technically skip this and not go through and do that. But what I do need to make sure is that I'm going to come up to the 31st. I need to make sure that I show that 0 of saying, well, I'm multiplying this by 30. If it confuses you too much, just go ahead and do all the zeros and then go to the tens column. If this is something you can do and start off right this way, go ahead and do it. If not, write those zeros and then go to the tens. The reason why I have this 0 here is I am skipping the ones because it would all be just a bunch of zeros. But now I need to multiply this by 30, so that's why I have that 0. So now I can go ahead and continue. 3 times 5 is 15. I'm going to regroup that 1. 7 times 3 is 21 plus 1 is 22, and I'm going to regroup that 2. Cross off that 1. 3 times 0 is 0 plus 2 is 2, and then 3 times 2 is 6. Okay, now I can come down to the 100, but remember I've got to do those 2 zeros. 5 times 5 is 25, regroup the 2. 5 times 7 is 35 plus 2 more is 37, regroup that 3. 5 times 0 is 0 plus 3 is 3, and then 5 times 2 is 10. Okay, so now I can go ahead and add this up. Pretty easy since it's only 2 numbers here, and it looks like I'm not really having to regroup anything. This answer, I got 1,099,000. Guys, look at that. We estimated that it was going to be 1 million. So I would say that is a really good, out of all these problems, I'd probably say this is probably one of the best one that is the closest. So I'm just going to flip my paper over so I have more room, and I'm going to go ahead and do letter H. And letter H is also nice because it does have that 1,000 by the 603. So we're going to go ahead and just leave that the way that it is. So I have 4,400 multiplied by 603. All right. So I'm going to go through and do this. 4 times 3 is going to give me 12. Regroup my 1. 3 times 0 is 0 plus 1 is 3. 3 times 0 is 0. 3 times 4 is 12. Now here's the thing, guys, is that when you're doing this, I know some of you are like, well, if there's zeros, can't we skip them? Not when it's in the middle of the number like this. When it is here in my tens column, I can skip that. I don't need to do that because I would just be doing 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay, but when it's in the middle number like this and I am multiplying it by something, you do need to make sure that you are continuing to do it. Okay, so now instead of doing my tens column, I can skip that, but now I'm going into my hundreds. So that's the reason why I have to have those 2 zeros there. All right, so 6 times 4 is going to give me 24. Regroup that 2. 6 times 0 is 0, but I am adding 2 more, so that's 0. 6 times 0 is 0, and then 6 times 4 is going to give me 24. I'm going to add that all together. Again, so nice with adding that. Regroup, or not regroup, but group my 3's. So this answer would be 2,414,432. And guys, look at this. My estimated answer was 2,400,000. Again, I think that's another one that was super close to our estimation. Last one. And then we're going to be doing some word problems. I'll kind of take a look. We might not do all our word problems, but guys, I guarantee you it's going to be pretty simple doing them from here on out. It just is a lot of work because it is kind of a long multiplication problem. So this next one is that 987 times 3,105. I'm going to use that commutative property, and I'm going to put this number first, and then I'm going to multiply it by that number. So I'm going to do 3,105 multiplied by 987. All right, so now I can go through and multiply this. 3 times 5 is 35, regroup my 3. 7 times 0 is 0, plus 3 is 3 more. 7 times 1 is 7, and then 7 times 3 is 28. Okay, so I've got an 8 here, which would be 80, so that's why I'm going to put that 0. 8 times 5 is going to give me 40, so I'm going to regroup my 4. 8 times 0 is 0 plus 4 is 4. 8 times 1 is 8. 8 times 3 is going to give me 24. Okay, cross off that 4. Now I'm going to come over here to 900. It's 900, 2 zeros. 9 times 5 is 45. 9 times 0 is 0 plus 4 is 4. 9 times 1 is 9. And 9 times 3 is 27. Regroup my, or not regroup my 1, but put my 2 here and add my addition sign. Now I'm going to go through and add these up. 16, regroup that 1, 16, 17, it's 21, regroup that 2, 17, regroup that 1, that's 10, regroup that 1. So then I'm going to group it by those 3's because that's how I group with my place value. So this says 3,071,635, guys. 3 million, pretty reasonable answer. All right, so if we need to, we can take a little bit of a break. This is a long one to do, and we're going to do just a few word problems.